This is the second part of mounting this little Polish Bison chuck to a backing plate video. If you haven't seen the first part and you got some time to waste, then I suggest you start with the first part. At this time a link should be popping up on the top right corner. But do what you like, I'm not stopping you. I cannot get it off anymore. So that's a tight fitting register. What do you think? Will it still spin off? I'm thinking no, but the last time I was also wrong too. I gotta hold the big pulley with one hand, tighten the strap and then hit it. Well, I just cannot get it off. I actually destroyed the strap. I put in a bit of heat, but that didn't help. It only started rusting. So I'm going to use the electric drill and put the hole in this way. The chips can go nowhere. This is probably a recipe for disaster, but I gotta drill at least 2 centimeters deep for the bolts I just bought. I considered pushing it in with a tailstock, but that wouldn't leave me enough room for the electric drill. I can see chips there. That's not a good thing. Well, this is going to take a while. I'll report back later. It took a while and it was hard work, but I drilled deep enough. So now I'm going to take the chuck off and drill it to 6mm, and then I'll tap the workpiece with a M6 thread. But first a small commercial interlude. Last month the Banggood representative contacted me again, asking if I would do another review for them. It was shortly after the set screw and sloppy threads video. So I asked for this tap and die set. This is the only tap and die set that Banggood sells that has a taper, plug and bottom tap. It made me think of my old and tired set, just in a smaller box. Basically everything you need to make M3 till M12 nuts and bolts in a nice metal box. Unfortunately no drills. That's too bad, because I keep breaking those. I like the fact that all these dies are all the same size. My old set has 3 different size dies, and that has stopped me from making a die holder for my lathe. It's also the reason why this box is so much bigger. That, and it also has drill bits. Because I don't want to end up with sloppy threads again, I did a test piece a while back. So let's have a look at the results. Here's my test piece. I compared 4 different tabs. The first one is one of those tabs I used in the set screws and sloppy threads video. The second one is one of these new Banggood tabs. This one is my own old tab and die set, and this is some expensive tab that I borrowed. I am testing for slop here. First up, this crappy tab that I used in the set screws and sloppy threads video. Lots of play. The new one, very similar. Also a crappy sloppy thread. My own old tab. It's reasonable. And I didn't use the plug tab because that one is a bit damaged. So I went from taper to the bottoming tab. And this one, the expensive one, no slop at all. And you cannot turn it by hand. The other 3, no problem. But this feels perfectly fine. So there you have it, lots of slop again. I only tested the M8, but now I need a M6, so it's only fair I should also give the M6 tab a try. I did some testing with the M6 tabs, both the old and the new ones. This thread I made using all 3 stages of the new tabs, so that's taper, plug and bottom, in that order. It's the same procedure as I did for the M8 thread. As you can see, there's quite a bit of slop in this thread, just like the M8 ones. Maybe a bit less. I don't think it's good enough for my current project. I don't want that little chuck to come flying off. This thread I made using the taper and the bottom tab of my old set. I skipped the plug tab because it has some damage and isn't very sharp anymore. As you can see, there is some slop, but it is certainly a bit better than this one. It's not perfect, but I think it's good enough. It has to be good enough because it's my only option. This hole I threaded using only the taper tab, and to my surprise the taper tab made a fully formed thread that is actually a bit tighter than this thread here. Of course, a taper tab doesn't thread all the way to the bottom of a hole, so that knowledge is pretty much useless to me. Besides, I don't think a taper tab should make a fully formed thread. My old taper tab certainly doesn't. And when you look at this picture, you can see why. The cutting edges on the old and gold colored tab have been ground down further. Well, that pretty much concludes all the testing I've done. One more thing, there is some play in this tapping wrench on the side here. You really need to tighten it up good, but unfortunately there is no hole in here. You can stick a pin through to tighten things up. I haven't tested the dies yet, but if they are any good, you might see them back if I ever make a die holder for my lathe. If not, then this makes a perfect Christmas gift for my father. The man probably hasn't used a tap or die in his whole life, so he won't complain. And it's the thought that counts, right? I have seen the same set advertised elsewhere, although then the case is blue, just like my old set, and the tabs are gold colored, probably tin coating, also just like my old set. I suspect that that is the better version of the same set, most likely from the same manufacturer. By the way, on a side note, this week I've been contacted by 2 other companies that want to give me free stuff in order to sell you guys their products. Now, I am all in favor of free stuff, but it's the free shit I have a problem with. But who knows, maybe one of them has a nice tap and die set I can try out. Alright, back to the little Bison chuck. I just drilled the hole a little bit deeper to make some room for chips. I'm currently holding the spindle with one hand, tapping with the other, while having the stupid tripod in front of me. This is tapping lighter than that material I was testing with. Not sure if that was deep enough. It has to be deep enough. You cannot drill it deeper anymore. Here comes the bottoming tab. Hopefully it will pick up the thread. Well, you guys are too much in the way. One of the cutting edges is broken off on this plug tab. That's why it was so difficult to start. Single hand tapping, probably a recipe for breaking a tab. That has to be enough. I'm not risking going any deeper, because then I might need to start up the spark erosion machine. It's not going in far enough. I will add some washers as a temporary fix later on. I'm going to countersink the bolts, but this way I don't have to worry. The chuck will move and the holes won't line up anymore. The drill bit got pushed into the chuck. The shank of the drill bit is still okay, so it looks like it didn't spin, although there's plenty of oil on there, so maybe it did. That almost went sideways. Well, that's done. It should be deep enough. Now, it got pushed in again. Well, that should be enough. Thank God that's done. My arm is starting to hurt from all that pushing. It really makes you appreciate the drill press. That corner feels pretty rough. This one as well. Well, it won't hurt anyone, so I'll leave it like this. Good enough for now. Maybe I'll polish it a bit more later. A little extra to clear out the threads. I also had to do that with the first hole. Still a bit tight. Yeah, probably a bit of swerve. And now it's time to countersink these holes. With a 10mm drill. And about 6mm deep. This time I'm going to countersink the holes with the correct size drill bit. Here we go again. That should be about 5mm. It's pretty close. So, and now I have to make a bottoming drill. I bet there will be 1 or 2 10mm drill bits in here. This one looks close. No, that's a 9. Ten and a half. I think this one will pass as a 10mm drill. 988. It's a bit smaller, but that should be okay, I guess. It's only 4/5 smaller than the drill I used. I watched a YouTube video about making a bottoming drill. I don't have a belt sander, but I do have an angle grinder. So now I only have to cut this off nice and square. Man, that's a cheese grade drill bit. very soft. I wasn't really happy with my squareness. Well, let's give this a try. I will edit in a picture for your amusement. We're about to find out how I did with my first flat bottom drill grind. I thought it was a good idea to bolt it down because these edges here, they can easily take out the side of the hole here. So I got it lined up and I'm ready to go. I don't think I tightened up the chuck. No, I didn't. That happens a lot to me. Well, I believe it is cutting. And I believe it is pretty flat. That looks rather pretty. I guess now I should check if the hole is deep enough. Maybe I can get the drill out without moving the chuck. That's no problem. Yeah, that's what I thought, not deep enough. Hopefully this drill will also scrape a bit of the bottom. I think it will. It's only cast iron. No problem. Just how much did I scrape off? Not enough. Of course not. Yep, that's nice. So now I'm going to do the other two holes, but I won't be bothering you with that. Well, that's all done, and I'm pleased with the result. I think I drilled all holes to about the same depth. Next I'm going to put this little Polish shock back together. I've threaded the other two holes. And now I'm going to put back the chuck body so I can polish it a bit without the pinion gear installed. Hopefully this will all fit. It's definitely tighter than I was hoping for. There must be some tension in there. Let's polish a little. I've become very good at polishing. Yeah, that's a nice enough shine. So now I'm going to put the chuck back together. I cleaned out all the cemented grease that was on the pinion and the bevel gear. So now I'm going to put this back together. Also put a bit of oil on the pinion gear. The pin that keeps the pinion gear in place. I don't think this chuck has seen much use. Anyway, you know how this goes. I'll skip the rest. I'll put in a drop of lube. She is a bit tight. I also drilled out the bolt holes again because there was a lot of friction in those. They're still tighter than I would have liked it to be. It looks like I used a bit too much oil. And now I can try and see if I can spin this off. The chuck key needs a little cleanup. Ow! The little bastard seems to be stuck. It's already loose. As you can see, it's no longer butted against the spindle. This makes me nervous. I wasn't expecting that. Well, I've tried, but it is really stuck. And I'm hitting the spindle harder than I am comfortable with. I'm pretty sure the register is galling up inside. So the best course of action would be to just turn down the backing plate and carefully remove the last bits. Maybe then I can save the register on the spindle. Now this is a rather disappointing end of my Christmas special. Just my luck. Well, Merry effing Christmas.